Hello and welcome to Lyon Leadership. Thank you for being here today. Today's service is on limiting beliefs and negative conditioning. First, we're going to go into what a limiting belief is. Then, we're going to go into how to identify limiting beliefs and negative conditioning in our own life. Then, we're going to give you the tools to remove limiting conditions and negative conditioning from your life. So, we're going to talk about first the glass delusion. This was a manifestation of a psychiatric disorder that occurred in Europe in the Middle Ages between the 15th and 17th century, where people literally thought that they were made of glass and therefore could shatter into pieces. The most documented was King James VI in France. He thought that he was made of glass, so he would wear reinforced clothing and he would have to sit upon pillows and he wouldn't let anyone touch him because he was afraid that if they came in contact he would shatter. And this was his belief, and this is what was going on in Europe. And it's just a perfect example of the things that we make up in our mind, these beliefs, and how our beliefs can control our lives, really. So a limiting belief then is a belief that we have that's holding us back somehow. Now, just because we're not going to shatter into a million pieces because someone touches us doesn't mean that we have any less serious limiting beliefs in the modern age and in nowadays. You might have limiting beliefs in work ethic and relationships, poverty mindset. You might have poor time management. A lot of people nowadays tell themselves, I can't tell the truth because I may get judged, or I don't want to get close to that person because I might get my heart broken, or I don't want to tell people what I want because I might get rejected. I can't do A because of B, I can't do X because of Y. And only difference between us and the Middle Eastern is the beliefs are centered around physical contact. And we have these beliefs around our emotions, our relationships, our dreams. Deep down, we're afraid that once our emotions get hurt and we experience a heartbreak, or once we face a setback, it'll shatter us and we could die too. So we really start to get our beliefs when we first become aware and grow self-awareness when we're really young. And we're really easily susceptible. We're just sponges to knowledge, and usually we learn from people with good means, our family, our parents, and then teachers and peers. So that's really how they first start to set in, and this is where you start learning gender roles and where you fit in with society. And they're not all necessarily bad, but a lot of limiting beliefs can just come from this, from your upbringing. And then the next one is charismatic people that you look up to, or role models, or television. More people that you let into your life and how they affect you. You can get a lot of your limiting beliefs or beliefs in general from these sort of people than advertisements, or necessarily repetition. That's how nowadays so many people have these biased opinions and limiting beliefs that they learn from TV or society. You know, women have to look a certain way, men can only act a certain way. And then the other one that we get our beliefs from can be trauma, physical trauma. If when we're little we meet a dog, and the first time we ever meet a dog, the dog bites us, we're going to have a belief that all dogs are bad until that belief is changed somehow. Mass creating beliefs aren't necessarily anybody's fault. They've been happening pretty much as long as humans, Homo sapiens, have been able to talk. We've basically been telling each other kind of white lies just to get everyone to come together. It's really what makes a society, and I don't necessarily mean white lies, but a cause, or a dollar, or God. And it really just is able to have people think on the same level, and we really like it because, you know, one person with bad belief, you can stop them, but if there's 1,000 people with one belief, it's a lot harder to stop. And that's basically how it all began, is we would be a bunch of Homo sapiens and we'd be able to say, oh, the great God says we have to go and kill a mammoth or something, and then they would all get together and they'd take down this mammoth. And then now it's evolved to such a degree that there are billion-dollar systems that people are creating, and they're feeding us and repeatedly feeding these habits that we have to buy more things, or we have to be with the latest trend, and they create these systems that make us feel like we're lacking in something and we have to get it, and once we get it we're going to feel so much better, and then it never ends, creating this, you know, consumer-based environment in life. And a lot of beliefs get clouded from there, because we don't really know who to believe anymore. But if we're constantly beat down with these ideas, drink Coke, buy McDonald's, beef is good for you, then we're just going to accept it because everyone else is, and we need to break away from that. So that's just an example of what beliefs are and where they come from. We're still talking about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are biases, they're fear, they're excuses that we tell ourselves why we can't do things, and they really hold us back from going forward. They keep us locked in a safe, confined comfort zone, and they limit us from breaking out and experiencing life and having the best life possible. So now that we kind of have an idea of what a limiting belief is, we're going to go into now identifying if we're suffering from limiting beliefs, or basically figuring out how we can see these limiting beliefs. And in order for us to see how these limiting beliefs are affecting our lives, we really have to take a second just to be humble. We have to listen to our thoughts. We can't just be always in a rush. We have to take a breath, and we have to just experience what we're going through. Now, in order to identify what a limiting belief is, or what's going on in our lives, this is how you can do it. First, you can ask yourself. So take a second, close your eyes. Maybe you already know what your limiting beliefs are, and you already know that you need to work on them, but more than likely you don't. You know, it's not going to happen and change with the snap of a finger. A lot of people have lived their whole lives and have experienced these failures and have had places in their lives where they just don't get the results that they want, and they're all limiting themselves and they don't even know it. So it's not necessarily easy to tell what your limiting beliefs are, but it's really just like that little voice in your head that's holding you back whenever you're supposed to do something you know, but you don't do it, and then you give yourself excuses and you let it perpetually go on and on and on without ever taking action, without ever implementing what you really want to do. Now we're going to go into identifying limiting beliefs. Because the first step to freeing yourself from these limiting beliefs is drawing them out to the open and realizing that they're happening. Now, maybe you already know what your limiting beliefs are, or you have an idea, but you really need to maybe take a second, because the first step of identifying and understanding your limiting beliefs is asking yourself, where am I not getting the results that I want in my life? Where do I constantly run into issues? A lot of people just kind of seem to be asking themselves all the time, oh, why does this keep happening to me? But then they never do anything about it, and then they just keep doing it. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and getting the same result. So it's time to break the chains. It's time to free yourself. It's time to earn the money you want to earn, find the love that you want to have, and live the life that you deserve. So take a second to think about, where are you in spirituality? Where are you in creativity? Where are you in finance, career, education, health, physical activity, home cooking, home environment, relationships, social life, joy? Those are just some. You can write them down or just think about them. Pick one that you really feel like you're struggling with. That's the best bet to identifying, is just your biggest one. Many people might have quite a few, and many people might have to work out all the issues, and we're going to go into that on how you can help yourself. But if you can really focus on the one that you think would have the biggest impact in your life. So identify your number one concern, the place where you want to see the largest growth, the best amounts of success for yourself. And that's what I think we should work on today. Because as soon as you are able to take down your biggest fear, your biggest limiting belief, you'll see that you can start doing it for all your other ones, and you'll just become more aware. So when we're identifying our limiting beliefs, we really have to take a second just to humble ourselves. We have to think about the thoughts that are going through our head, think about the life that we are living. So many things today try and distract us, try and take away our attention from what's really going on, and we just go in a mad dash until we hit a wall and all of the emotions come out. So in order for us to first identify our limiting beliefs, we have to humble ourselves. We have to understand that we're only human, no one's perfect, these things have been holding us back, and ask ourselves, where am I limiting myself? It could be, you think that you can only make a certain amount of money, like ask yourself, what is your relationship with money? And then see if you get responses, or you can start to just think about these things. So the first step, ask yourself. The second step is find somebody whose opinion you value. Don't go to just some schmuck at work, because you might start talking about limiting beliefs and they may have the same limiting beliefs, and then you can just kind of add to your limiting beliefs instead of having someone tell you truthfully, you kind of act funny when these things happen, or I kind of tend to see you not being your true self when this happens. But find someone that you care about or whose opinion matters to you, and then ask them, hey, do you think I have any limiting beliefs? Or not necessarily those words, but along those lines, like, hey, have you seen me acting in a certain way that you don't think is right? And give me your honest opinion. So first, you can ask yourself, you can ask a friend. Third is going to be get yourself a journal and just write all your feelings out in that journal and start just writing it down. There's something that can happen when it's just you and a blank piece of paper, and you can just start with, I need to work on da 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 da. These are my limiting beliefs. These are the things that I want to improve on. But when you have the freedom of a blank page, really a lot can just pour out if you remove your judgment and find some humbleness inside of you. So when we have limiting thoughts and limiting beliefs, they're in our thinking, and then we do our action, and then we find the results. Now if we work that backwards, we have our results, then our action, then our thinking, and our limiting beliefs. So our limiting beliefs hide somewhere deep in our subconscious a lot of the times. Or they're right there on the surface and we just go with it and we don't know exactly how to go, but I assume they're more of like a little voice in the back of your head, telling you not to do the things you want to do. And they're holding you back, and you really just have to be mindful and aware that they're there. So there's the word because, and the word because is very important, because after the word because gives us the reason. So usually you have a problem, because, then a reason. And in that reason is your limiting belief a lot of the time. So ask yourself, I don't have enough money because I don't make enough at work. And then you can reverse that and you can see, I don't make enough at work, so I don't have enough money. And then there's the limiting belief is that you only have to make money at work. There's lots more ways to make money and things like that. And then another way to identify your limiting beliefs is in your own thoughts, your self-dialogue to yourself. People have probably been having issues a long time in their lives, and these limiting beliefs are deeply buried into their subconscious. So really have to be aware and really mindful of your body and of your negative thoughts. A lot of your negative thoughts can probably perpetuate you to feel discomfort, a lot of anger, maybe some relationship problems, and you really just need to pick them apart and figure out why you feel this way. And then not only do you have to feel it, but you really have to feel your emotions all the way through. So much nowadays in modern society, people are supposed to shut down their emotions, when in reality, if you just express them or beat up a pillow or go yell at the sky or something like that, you almost feel a lot better. You usually feel a lot better. So here's how we identify. Ask someone, ask ourselves, ask someone else, ask a journal, watch where we put the word because, and then we realize where our reasons are for our problems and for our stuff. And then you can launch your negative thinking, and then whenever they come up, you need to write them down. So have a bit of reflection maybe each day when you're trying to better yourself. Take a journal right before you go to bed, write down all the things you did good today, all the things you could work on, and then maybe some of the results that you didn't want, and then some of the results that you do want, and come up with the plan. So those are most of the tools that I have for realizing your limiting beliefs. Now let's get into removing and freeing yourself of these limiting beliefs. So people have, again, been suffering for a long time probably from these limiting beliefs. Their lives are not where they want to be, they don't have the results that they want, and they almost always want to be moving forward. I think everybody wants to have the opportunity to live the good life. So now we're going to get into removing negative limiting. You can't force a rosebud to blossom by hitting it with a hammer. Rachel Naomi Raymond. And I say that because now we're going to get into removing limiting beliefs and negative conditioning from our lives. And the first one that's most impactful, again, is just really straightforward and just facing your fears. Now, for some people, I understand they have a lot of trauma and they've had a hard time with these situations, and if it was just easy as that, just going out, they would have done it already. But like I said, the first thing you have to do is identify it, and you just have to be real. And then every time that issue comes up in your life, you just have to fight like hell. This is your life. This is your opportunity. You have to make the best of it. No one else is going to do it for you. It's only our responsibility to think for ourselves. Remember that. So the first thing is just fight. Figure out what you want and go for it. Don't let any limiting beliefs stop you. There's just so much judgment in the world, and you have to understand that what other people think doesn't matter. The only real person that matters is you, and the only thing stopping you from getting what you want is you. So go forth, get what you want, fight like hell for your life, for your voice, for your freedom, and get these limiting beliefs out of your life. We're going to go into other tools now, and the other one is first identify it. Second, you have to take responsibility for the limiting belief. And then you have to practice the art of forgiveness. And you have to forgive yourself for having these limited beliefs for so long. Because if you don't forgive yourself, then you don't really have the full process of having a limiting belief and then letting it go. And then after you forgive yourself, you have to go back to a place in your mind. Basically, take a moment, close your eyes, and remember what it felt like to feel what life was like before this limiting belief really affected your life. Or go to a place in your body, in your mind, where this limiting belief doesn't exist. And you have to really have a feeling, and you have to have a real image in your mind of what it was like to feel what it was like before this limiting belief was part of your life. And then every time that this limiting belief comes up, you just have to take a second. I know in this busy world we don't have a second, but this is what you have to do. You have to take a second just to breathe, experience, and remember what it's like to not have this limiting belief, and then take the corrective action to make your life better and not go with the limiting belief. And do the opposite, and do what is true, and do what you want for your life, for your truth, for your beliefs. After you have had the thoughts of the things, okay, so identify, take responsibility, forgiveness, feel what life is like without your limiting belief, and then again you just have to fight like hell. You have to, and it's not when you feel like it, it's not every now and then, it's every time the opportunity comes up to fight this limiting belief. You must, and you have to remember it, and you have to be strong within yourself. And a lot of the times it's just that little tiny voice, telling you, oh, you don't have to do that. But that is exactly when you do have to do it. Because you have that one little space between stimulus and response, and that's yours. And in that little space is where we put up our barriers, but today we're going to learn to take those down. Don't let your limiting beliefs guide your life. You have to try new things. You have to go out and adventure and experience the truth of what you really want. Otherwise, life is just going to keep you boxed into your tiny comfort zone. And as much as your 3-foot world is important, it's never going to get any better unless you can take your 3-foot world into new experiences, into new things, and stop being afraid of everything. Be brave for your sake and your life and your beliefs. Then the next step is think about in your life where you really want to have big results, where you want to change, and where you think you've been holding yourself back. And you're going to have to write it down. You're going to write down first where you are, again identify, Take responsibility, forgive yourself if you have to for where you are, and then write out where you want to be. All right, you have to say, and it doesn't have to, it can be as long as you want, but I find like as long as you work within maybe say 18 months, that's more realistic than 5-10 years, especially if we're just working on beliefs. It could be tomorrow what you want to do, but really have an idea in your mind where you want to go, what you want to be, and then figure out where you are now, and then connect the dots. Just tell yourself exactly how you're going to do it. You can even go day by day. You can break it down hour by hour. Just be organized in yourself, and then tell yourself what's going to happen if these limiting beliefs come up, and how you're going to fight that, and how you're going to take charge of your own life and go forward and not have these limiting beliefs hold you back. And then if they do hold you back somehow, you have to just be able to reset, resharpen your saw, redo, and then go forward again. There's none of this, oh, I failed, I quit. None of that. You can't quit. This is life. It goes on without you and it's going on with you, and you better be ready to go on strong. That's the plan. So make a plan. Make a plan. Make a plan. Some other tools that I really recommend is mindfulness. Again, and I'm going to go in heavily in some other talks. But every night before you go to bed, feel what it is that you are and who you are and what you want to be, and feel the feeling of not having these limiting beliefs and of getting the things you want, and imagine them coming to you, and then feel the feeling of already having them in your life. And then every morning when you wake up, I want you to write 10 ways that you're going to fight your limiting beliefs, and 10 ways that you're going to prove to yourself that these are not running your life, and 10 ways that you're going to change your world around, and how you're going to benefit and have a good day and make it the best day possible. Basically just write 10 new ideas every morning, but since we're focusing on breaking these limiting beliefs, write 10 ideas that are going to push your limiting beliefs out of your life and are going to empower you. And another thing that's going to happen is if we're removing these limiting beliefs and we're pushing them out of our lives, it's going to take a lot of courage, and it's going to take some new strength, and you're going to have to maybe dig up some old pains and look at them face to face. And what I recommend is, if you're really having a hard time, build your self-confidence up by first just focusing on something that you are confident in, and double down, triple down on that. If you're really good at gardening, just make the most beautiful garden you possibly can and embellish yourself in it and build confidence from that. If you're really good at cooking, if you're really good at video games, just roll yourself into that confidence and feel that power, and then try and take that power into other places of your life. And don't let the limiting beliefs beat you down or make you feel less than you are. And remember how good you are, at least at that one field, and then it will grow more and grow more into other fields of your life. So be brave, have confidence, start small with if you have confidence issues facing your limiting beliefs. And then the real secret to removing limiting beliefs, escaping from your negative conditioning, is going to be your habits. And you have to make it a habit of fighting for your life. This is your life, and this is your chance to make the best. Fight the limiting beliefs. Every time they come up, just fight them. Go forth and see what saying yes to the world will bring you. Don't be afraid. Don't fear anything. And if you are afraid, think of the worst case scenario, come to terms with it, and then go and do it anyways. Who knows if that's going to happen? Who knows if it's not? But go forth and try and actually have a positive mindset. You can maybe play out the whole role of the worst case scenario, realize that it's not that bad, and then try and focus on the best case scenario. Because every time that we're wasting our time thinking about the negative, thinking about the stuff that's taking away, we're taking away time that we can be thinking about the positive, or how it can be adding to our lives. So you really have a choice in every situation to either fear something or to love something. And I recommend that you always go forth with the most love you possibly can. And if it's not love for you, then it's love for someone else, or it's love for your beliefs, or it's love for your life. And I know that sometimes people think that their beliefs are who they are, but it's not. You don't have to be who you are. You can change who you are just right now or anytime you want. If you really just pay attention and you really put some effort, you can put yourself on a path to doing more of what will make you happy, more of a meaningful life and more of a full life. So be brave, have confidence, and get rid of your limiting beliefs. Stop limiting yourself. Wake up each day, tell yourself, today I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to live the best life, and do that every day. Alright, thank you very much for listening and having a good time with me today. Follow me on YouTube, like, subscribe. Thanks.